Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Archaon, the Everchosen, has his sights set on Athaloran as the High Elves ride out to meet him, as we have Malverde on the Chaos side, as we'll have Tequila Sunset is going to be controlling the High Elves. So for the forces of Chaos, we do have the Mirror Guard in the front line, the Chaos Warriors ROR, and they do have 100 armor, and they have a nice little bit of extra speed as well, so they are able to keep up with these Chaos Marauders, something that the regular Chaos Knights would normally lag behind. So if you are looking for a little quicker mobility for their Chaos side, they're a nice little addition in that department. They also do have that immune to psychology, which is always a nice little thing to have. And of course, on top of their base leadership, they are a very tough nut to crack. And it's going to be Chaos Marauders for the rest of the line. We have a couple of Dragon Ogres, very nice anti-large armor piercing, really good against that High Elf cavalry, against like dragons and stuff like that. They have a lot of mass to really kind of hold things in place. We have some Chaos Chariots. We have some Chaos Knights with lances in the back. And then for the Vanguard, there is going to be 3 Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. And of course, for the Lord, it is Archaon, the Everchosen. He's coming in with Fireball, Burning Head, as well as Foe Seeker. He's going to be foregoing the Slayer Kings, instead going to be relying on his spellcasting and just his raw martial prowess. We also have an Exalted Hero, though, to also assist in that regard. So just base unit here, just going to be on horse. So just a little extra melee power in that front line. And that is it for Chaos. Now, as for the High Elves, as they try and hold back the tides of Chaos, we have some Spearmen for that front line. They will be backed up by a pair of White Lions of Trace, and they do have some nice armor piercing, so against Chaos in general, they are rather decent. Now, they do also have a little bit of missile resist, 30% of that, with their Lion Cloak, so they're able to kind of resist any skirmish power a little bit, considering they do not have any shields, but then their 90 armor also doesn't help with that either. For the spellcasting, is going to be a Mage of Fire coming in with Fireball and Burning Head, potentially on the lookout for a Hell Cannon, because then you're able to kind of snipe that out with those Fireballs. And with what Chaos has brought, that Burning Head is going to be rather helpful on top of that, because they do quite good work against like Marauders. When anything above that, it does kind of struggle to deal any damage. And for the Lord, it is going to be Tyrion, as he rides forth, trying to duel with Archaon. And he is going to be bringing Sunfang as a nice little chaff clearing tool to kind of clear out some of those Marauders. We also have a Feint and Riposte, which gives plus 24 melee attack and melee defense and 22% physical resist. So that will help even more so when he is going to be engaging with Archaon. But mostly I think you do kind of bring him in case you are fearful of Sigvald, because he is a really good duelist in and of himself. And he also does have the Heart of Avalorn, which gives a nice little bit of healing. When his hit points does kind of get below 20%, he does have a chance to proc that, and that is 1800 in healing. That is rather considerable. We do have some Lothern Seaguard then in the back, and these guys do have some spears, so they're not going to be so susceptible to those cavalry charges. And we have some Illyrian Reavers in the back. And then for the highlight, it is going to be a Star Dragon up in the sky, a very strong foe indeed, as going to be coming in with some of the breath attacks. Going to have some nice targets for those, but it's going to have to be very mindful, of course, of those Dragon Ogres and those Chaos Knights as well. But that is going to be the armies, so let's get things rolling, as Chaos is going to be advancing, and the High Elves are going to be taking a little bit more reserved position. They do have all of the archers to kind of counteract these Chaos, or the Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. They do have rather short range, and they do have to be pretty close, especially if they're going to be targeting the Star Dragon, though they will be able to do some nice damage to it. They only have that 70 range, so all of these Lothern Seaguard will be able to keep them at bay, and that's going to pretty much allow that Star Dragon to have a little bit more safety. But of course, the big threats are going to be the Dragon Ogres and the Chaos Knights with lances against that Star Dragon itself. Right now it looks like it's going to be mostly just the positioning phase of the match, as Chaos is going to be trying to kind of wrap a little bit around with their Marauder Horsemen, and it's kind of taken the bulk of their units, because really the Chaos Marauders and this Mirror Guard, well, the Mirror Guard will do rather well. The rest of it's just kind of there. They're not going to be able to really beat down these White Lions. It looks like we get an Overcast on that Mage of Fire, going to be taking a little bit of extra damage there. It looks like it was probably doing a Fireball, as it is going to be going off, targeting these Chaos Chariots, going to be arcing its way forward. Going to be getting a little bit of damage in, as it does land amongst that middle chariot, doing a nice little bit of damage, but not all too much there. And definitely probably with the damage that was received from that Overcast, not really worth the cost there. as the archers just going to be keeping the Marauder Horsemen at bay, as the chariots do get a nice charge through the white lines of trace, but they are going to be getting a little bit caught out here, but that is going to get everything nice and blobbed up, and is going to have the burning head just as it was about to go off. Looks like it gets canceled, but it will be going off again, but that did give the High Elves enough time to really kind of dodge this cast here, though it is going to be doing a nice bit of damage going right through these Lothern Sea Guard. But that initial cast would have been doing a lot more work, and these Chaos Chariots, it did take a lot of damage. They are going to be routing off the field, though they had 3 of their models left. One of them just fell, as the Chaos Knights with Lances do get a nice charge into the side of these White Lions of Trace, taking a nice bit of damage, and now Tyrion is a little isolated right now. He is surrounded by Dragon Ogres, Archaon, the Exalted Hero, but that Star Dragon is sitting right overhead, going to be getting a nice breath attack off right onto Archaon. Archaon does take quite a bit of damage from that, but Tyrion himself is already down to half health. He does pop Stand Your Ground and Feint and Riposte, but he is still taking a ton of damage, though it is going to allow him to kind of stay in that fight, because he very easily could have been going down there without that ability. And a nice Burning Head going through all these Marauder Horsemen, a nice bit of damage there. The Illyrian Reavers are going to be pushed back by all the Chaos Knights and the Dragon Ogres, and that Star Dragon probably not really the best place to be diving in against all of these Dragon Ogres, Exalted Hero, Chaos Knights with Lances. All of it is definitely not where that Star Dragon wants to be, and especially without any healing from the Lore of Life. That is going to be a rather pain for that Star Dragon for sure. And the Burning Hedge is going to go right on down the line. Going to be doing some damage to those White Lions. Trace a little bit to the Mirror Guard as well, but it almost was enough to break those White Lions. And that would have freed up those Mirror Guard to kind of assist the rest line, because everything for Chaos is just in this massive blob of very strong units. It's going to be very hard for the High Elves to really kind of crack into this, but Archaon has taken quite a bit of damage so far. And much like the High Elves here, he doesn't have access to any healing, so what you see is what you get for his health. Well, on the other side, Tyrion was able to actually heal up quite a bit with one of his Hearts of Averlorn, and you can see just from that healing cap already doing a nice bit of damage, getting the Sunfang off as well. And Archaon is just getting beat down. Now he is very, very low, just getting dragged down. Star Dragon coming in for the kill, as he is going to be chasing down Archaon. The lunge forward, and down falls the Everchosen, falling off his mighty steed, and a fireball goes off as well. I think that was from the High Elves. They're going through these Marauders, doing a bit of damage there. But Tyrion, while he was able to defeat Archaon, the battle is not over yet. The Star Dragon is surrounded by these Chaos Knights, and the Dragon Ogres are doing a nice bit of damage, and the Exalted Hero does get kind of pushed off by Tyrion, doing a nice bit of damage to him, but he is still sitting all right in terms of HP, though he does take a fireball right into the rear, as the mage over on the backside is able to get a nice little cast in. And there is still plenty of infantry left for the High Elves, though. It kind of balanced power pretty heavily in the High Elves' favor after Archaon has fallen. They have plenty of spearmen, the White Lions, and while the Star Dragon is rather low, it is still around and still has quite a bit of HP on top of that. I mean, it still has 1300, so that is nothing to slouch at. And Tyrion is just able to continually tank all this damage. The Dragon Ogres, the Chaos Knights with Lances have all taken quite a bit of damage. Chaos kind of pulls slightly back into the balance of power, as they are able to deal some nice damage to these Illyrian Reavers. And the Star Dragon trying to finish off those Chaos Chariots, which Chaos Chariots, they actually do kind of want these guys to survive, because that will help a lot with kind of the Spearmen and all the infantry, just kind of cycling them down bit by bit, because otherwise they are going to have to rely more and more on the Dragon Ogres, and they don't really want to be fighting all those Spearmen. But they really need to deal with Tyrion, because if they lose like the Exalted Hero and stuff like that, Tyrion is just going to have the time of his life just kind of dealing with like all of the Mirror Guard and stuff like that. He'll be able to take them down pretty well, and we do get a nice Burning Head, though. I think that's going to do a little bit more friendly fire than it will do to the Chaos side, as it does roast some of the Spearmen, but the Chaos Marauders and the Mirror Guard in particular are going to be routing here. So the Mirror Guard, one more of the kind of tough nut to really get off the field, and they are going to be able to get them pushed off. But now all the Marauder Horsemen are going to have some nice fire right into that Star Dragon, able to get a nice bit of damage in, some nice volleys before these White Lions are able to kind of push them back, and only down to one of the Lothern Sea Guard by the looks of things to kind of keep these Marauder Horsemen at bay. And if Chaos really does have to play it very patiently here, they have to kind of avoid these Lothran Seaguard and try and get as much damage in with these Marauder Horsemen, and just kind of cycle charge with the Dragon Ogres and keep that Exalted Hero nice and healthy, because he's going to be needed for sure. But it looks like these Marauder Horsemen trying to kind of thread the needle here, getting a little caught out, but they are able to kind of dodge around those spearmen, able to find a path through, and are going to continue hunting down that Star Dragon, though Tyrion is able to jump on the back of this one unit, able to get a few hits in, drop a model by the looks of it, and just kind of everything just trying to screen out from that Star Dragon, as Chaos is just relentless in its pursuit to try and bring down the dragon. Its bounce power edging more and more towards the center, though. And these Dragon Ogres looking to get rid of these Lothran Seaguard. And of course, these guys do have a nice little anti-large in melee, since they are spear units themselves. And that Fireball trying to catch out these Marauder Horsemen just clips the units, giving that leadership penalty to them. But they are able to survive and continue on their merry way in pursuit of that Star Dragon, who is now routing by the looks of things. And the final engagement between Tyrion and the Exalted Hero, this is kind of going to be where this decided. If Tyrion actually pops another bit of healing here, that is going to be just a little bit too much, I think, for that Exalted Hero to kind of whittle through. But a lucky hit here and there might be enough to break Tyrion, as, I mean, the Mage of Fire is going to be getting routed off with all of these Dragon Ogres and doing a nice bit of damage to her. And now Tyrion is kind of sitting a little alone. He does have spear support kind of poking into the heels of these Dragon Ogres, and they are able to rout off Tyrion, but the Exalted Hero did take quite a bit of damage in the process, and he is going to be routing himself. And I think that is pretty much going to be it for Chaos. They do have the Mirror Guard coming back to the fight, but there is a very healthy unit of White Lions of Trace, and I don't think they're going to have enough left in the tank to kind of finish things off, especially with his Fireball to kind of send off that Exalted Hero. I think that's going to be just enough to make sure that he does not come back, and making sure that the High Elves still have that spell casting can be very helpful, and the Star Dragon itself also returns. And with that back, I just don't think that Chaos has the tools to kind of whittle down this many spear units. I mean, even with the Dragon Ogres back, that is just way too many anti-large units on the field. I just don't think there's going to be any way to kind of grind through all that. White Lions are kind of dealing with the only threat to them, which is the Mirror Guard, and the Mirror Guard just don't have enough HP to grind through those guys. A nice little charge in by the Marauder Horseman, able to break the Lothran Seaguard. But yeah, still, that's going to be army losses. Yeah, Chaos is going to succumb, but a very well-fought scrap, almost kind of able to kind of bring things back, but just a few things changing here and there, and also losing Archaon was definitely a cry and shame for sure, so early on. So we'll look at the after-battle report here real quick. So the Star Dragon, able to rack up a nice bit of value, getting 3k in total value. And then we also have like the Illyrian Reavers, got pretty beat down by those Dragon Ogres. They are pretty strong anti-large armor piercing. Lothran Seaguard were able to kind of keep those Marauder Horsemen at bay, and we're able to get a nice bit of damage on top of that. And then we have the two White Lions of Trace, which would mostly be brought in case they're worried about like halberds or like Chaos Warriors, and they did do rather well against the Mirror Guard. And if we look over at the Mirror Guard, was able to get about 800 in value, but definitely having these guys, especially one very healthy unit, making sure that those Mirror Guard were not able to get onto the Spearmen, and just having all these guys left. One of them actually got 1,000 in total value, getting some very nice value from that one. The other one's not really doing all too great, but that one doing mighty nice indeed. Mage of Fire doing all right, and then Tyrion himself able to rack up 1,600 in total value. As for the Chaos side of things, both of the Dragon Ogres doing rather well. And then the Marauder Horsemen, the two units that survived till the end, were able to get some nice value. Even the Chaos Knights with Lances did rather well. And then just for the rest of the units, some of the Marauders did decently. Exalted Hero, and then Archaon. Archaon was still able to rack up 2,800 in total value, despite the fact that he got taken out of the fight so early on, and just was almost able to deal the final blow to Tyrion earlier. But unfortunately, he did fall, and with him, losing that spell casting as well was really big for the High Elves, making sure that they didn't have to worry about those burning heads kind of roasting through all those spearmen. Because, I mean, had you had that spell casting at the end, all those spearmen might not have been so hard to deal with. And of course, Archaon is just such a strong melee character anyways, so he could have been able to do a nice bit of work on top of that. But that is all I'm going to have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.